PBKC is your entertainment destination for poker, table games, OTB, Paddock live events, and exceptional eats. The Paddock restaurant is perfect for meetings, corporate functions, parties, fundraising, and more. Call 561-683-2222 extension 199 and book your next event today.
It is Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., and we are PBKC PICKS, broadcasting live from right here at the Palm Beach Kennel Club in West Palm Beach, Florida. We are one less today, which means the show is going to be informative and entertaining. So my name is Mike Jameson. To my right, the president of PBKC, Mr. Pat Rooney.
How are you, Mike? Good to be here.
If you didn't already know, Pat has on a shirt that says sports betting is here because he's just supporting us in our sports betting because we are marketing partners with Hard Rock Bet. And right behind me is Earnest Christian, longtime poker dealer and a podcaster. What's up, Ernest?
I feel naked right now. Like, where's
your cover there?
I don't have no one next to me yelling at me.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing really well. Somebody said a couple of weeks ago on TikTok, it looked like we were, driving in a car the way we're sitting here.
We might be.
And today, Ernest is in his car seat in the back seat right here.
So, car seat. Look at that.
Yeah, he's strapped in for an exciting show. But let's start off by talking about what we got starting tomorrow, and that is the Bar Poker Open. And event one of the Bar Poker Open, I got to let everybody know, is our March 100K. So that March 100K is going to start tomorrow. And that March 100K is going to run through Sunday. And the cool thing about that is it is event number one of the Bar Poker Open. The Bar Poker Open brings people in from all over the country, hundreds and hundreds of people. The poker room up there and the second floor is going to be absolutely packed with people. And they have some open tournaments in there, including our Monster Multi-Flight, which starts tomorrow, the 5th through the 8th. And that is event number one of Bar Poker Open. So get in here if you're in South Florida and the area. That is our monthly Multi-Flight, which is the most exciting tournament in all of South Florida. And it starts tomorrow, part of the Bar Poker Open. And now let's get into our NFL news. I wanted to start off by asking Pat in Earnest about Anthony Richardson. He requested a trade from the Colts. You think Anthony Richardson is a player that could lead a team in a different system?
I think it would be tough. And again, we're dealing with a very small sample size. He hasn't really played a ton since being the number one pick for the Colts. And didn't play a ton in college either. Much like Ty Simpson, only has like a 15 game resume under his belt from college. So that's a tough question, Mike. I don't like a ton of what I've seen from Anthony. I mean, he's got all the physical attributes and all that kind of stuff, but his completion percentage is really low. He took himself out of the game because he was tired. He seems like he gets injured a lot. And this is nothing against Anthony as a person or anything. There are just some guys, they get to a level and they just don't really want to play anymore. And he gives me the impression that, he might be doing this for the money, and that's fine. But unless you really, really love football, it's hard to play, especially at the quarterback position, just for money. And again, I'm not saying I know this or anything like that. I'm just going off of what I've seen in the brief career that he's had. That he just doesn't seem like he's a lover of football. And you can be that type of person and still play. But boy, the quarterback position is one where you really got to like the game, I think, to achieve what you can achieve. And I'm not sure if a new system or a new coach or anything else is going to make a difference. Anthony Richardson's the guy that's got to determine, do I want to play and do I want to do what I need to do to make myself the best player at this level I can be? And I don't know. Only he can answer that question. I'm just basing it off of observations of what I've seen from him so far. that just indicate to me that he just sort of doesn't care if he's there or not.
Yeah, we always knew coming into the league that he was a project because what Pat said, he played very little games in Florida. You know, it was a project. And what we've seen so far in a small sample between him not starting last year and then him getting hurt every other game has been very mid at best. And I think it's about him at this point now. I will say this much though, and I thought about this a little bit last couple of days. Like, is there a situation he can go to where he can learn and grow? There is a few actually, but there's one that stood out to me. He should, if they could trade him to the Rams, play on Sean McVay, play behind Matthew Stafford for a year or two, because Stafford is year to year at this point now. Mm-hmm. If you can learn on McVay in that culture, I think that will be one scenario where he can thrive if he chooses to, of course. Again, because to Pat's point, I agree with him. Like, you get the vibe that he likes football, but he doesn't love it. And I think it's one of those things like it's there. If he doesn't have it, if he loses it, it's okay, no big deal. And you got to be more than that. If you're a guy who was drafted high in a draft the way he was, you have to somewhat have some sort of expectations, of course. And I don't know, this has been disappointing because I was excited about him coming into the league because of the raw talent he had. But obviously, raw talent is just part of what you need to succeed in the NFL. You need this, and again, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, they are great because of this, not just because of talent, because of the brain power. So I think the Rams would be a good situation for him. We'll see, but he has to want it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think he's the example of when you're drafting for a quarterback, you're not going to go with the most athletic person that could become a great NFL quarterback. I think you got to go with the person that has the winning mentality and has the mindset for it, like a Mendoza. That's just my opinion on drafting an NFL quarterback. But, we'll see in the coming weeks if Anthony Richardson goes to a new team. But there was some breaking news over the last couple of days in the NFL. We had some recent trades. David Montgomery went to Houston. I think that's a big one. How do you feel about that one, Pat?
Yeah, I agree. I like David Montgomery. I thought he was a good compliment to Gibbs there in Detroit. Now, I know he's getting up there a little bit, but and I don't even know what the Lions got for him, but if they didn't get something really pretty good in return, you're weakening your team for the benefit of another team, and unless it's a super high draft pick or somebody that's going to come in and help you right away, to me that's just a negative loss for the Lions. And we keep saying that they're right there, they're there. So I wouldn't be getting rid of any of my assets at this juncture unless there's some injury issue or he just doesn't want to play for you anymore, or something like that. But man, if I'm the Lions, I'm still trying to keep this thing together to give this a couple more years of a run if we can. And David Montgomery's a big piece of that puzzle. So that one sort of surprised me a little bit.
Feels like it may also be a salary adjustment thing too, also as well. Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff has got paid new money like a year ago, and I'm sure a lot of money is being applied this season and beyond. So this is the thing. We said this. I think we said this like a year or two ago that their window is not as big as you realize because of all the ancillary reasons to this. So you're going to lose guys like a Montgomery and somebody else probably down the road. So. It's a good trade for Houston, you said, right? Houston got him? Yeah, it's a good trade. They need a running back, obviously, to help C.J. Stroud. But yeah, I look at it as more of a salary adjustment for the Detroit Lions as they move forward with this team.
Yeah, so Houston gave guard Juice Scruggs and some draft picks. They got juice. They got the juice now.
All right,
the new juice, not
old
juice.
So Detroit now has the juice. And I did like David Montgomery when he was a running back for the Bears. I think he had a bad offensive coordinator. I don't think they used him well enough with the Bears at the start of his career. So I think that's a really good move for the Texans. Also, in other news, Titus Howard goes to Cleveland for a fifth-round pick. And also, the franchise and transition tags just came out in the last couple of days. Only 4 players were tagged. Franchise tagged were Breece Hall for the Jets, George Pickens for the Cowboys, Kyle Pitts Sr. For the Falcons, and a transitional tag applied to Daniel Jones for the Colts. Do you agree with all those tags, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I know, like with Breece Hall, they're trying to get some kind of long-term thing with him, and they just, I think, are using this to buy some time to do that. Yeah. So I have no issue with that. I like him. I think he's a really good, dynamic young player, and the Jets need as many of those kind of guys as they can. Pickens is a tough one. Again, even though he had a great year with Dallas, he's still kind of goofy. He's just one of these guys that I don't know what it's going to take for him to hit a maturity level that he's going to be one of those players you can say, all right, he might have his eccentricities. I think Terrell Owens kind of had this as he went through his career. He was still kind of crazy, but at least he produced at as he went along, and maybe that's what they're hoping with Pickens. But it's a lot of money. I mean, it's not chump change that he's getting, but at the same time, I'm sure they want to try to lock him down if they can figure out how to corral him to some extent with some of the eccentricities that he has. And then the Daniel Jones one, we talked a little bit about this prior to coming on. I think this is an odd situation where a team is saying, look, we understand if you want to try to get out there and maybe test the waters and see if somebody wants to offer you something, we would still like to retain you and have the possibility of retaining you if somebody offers you something. And trying to do that in a way that you don't anger the person by just saying, hey, we're going to transition you, and if you don't get anywhere, we'll take you back, and that's it. But I think in this particular case, both parties are actually okay with this, and I'm assuming it will lead to something long-term for Daniel Jones, which is what he wants.
Yeah, I am curious, though, if Daniel Jones wasn't hurt, because he got hurt late in the year. It's probably going to miss, based on the timetable, it's probably going to miss at least a chunk of the start of the 2026 season if they would have done this. Like, I think he played well to the point where I think the Colts were considering getting an extension. Maybe nothing humongous, but something that's palatable. So, I mean, the transitional thing I've never heard before, actually. This is new to me, though. But nothing here outside of Daniel Jones is surprising. Like Breece Hall, obviously, that's more of a let's figure things out, long term. The Jets are a bad team, obviously. The Pickens thing is very unsurprising because even last year he was a good citizen for the most part, but by the end of the year he got a little goofy. He got a little weird at times, and again, he's someone that's very, is he talented? Absolutely, but is he someone that can definitely divide your locker room? Also, yes. And again, he's cost us a lot of money going back to Pittsburgh. So again, he has another year to prove himself. Like, okay, are you going to be less of a goofball and focus on football and don't be a divisive person in the locker room. That's the main thing here. And I think Pickens has another year to try this out. Look, a lot of money, I agree, but he earned this, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, so there's a couple of notable releases and roster moves that have come out in the last couple of days. The first one and the big one everybody's going to be talking about is Kyler Murray. He's expected to be released on March 11th. Where do you think Kyler Murray's going to land? I know Minnesota fans have been talking to me about it. I've heard the Dolphins. Do you think he's going to go somewhere and immediately become another starting quarterback?
Now I see Jake over there shaking his head. You guys might be shocked at this. I like Kyler Murray.
Wow.
I didn't like him initially. I didn't. I thought he was way too small and everything else. But I think he just ran his course with the Cardinals. I think he feels like he's got something to prove. And I think he will help a team, believe it or not, at least for a year or two. And again, I don't know Kyler Murray's makeup. He had that weird clause in his contract where, he had to, show up and do work and, it's normal things that you just expect a pro to do. So I don't know quite everything you probably need to know behind the scenes about him. But out of all the quarterbacks that Tua and everybody else that are out there, if I had to take any of them, I would take him. I think he has the chance. He's still relatively young. Maybe he feels like he has something to prove, and he doesn't want to just be one of these guys that, ended up coming in the league as a number one pick and just nothing ever happened with him. So of all those guys out there, he intrigues me the most. Don't get me wrong. He could be a complete bust. I'm not saying he might go somewhere and just not do anything, get hurt again, and you never really hear anything from him. But he's the one guy I would throw some dice on and say, let's give this kid a chance and see if a new environment, new scenery might mean something to him. I just like the intangible. He's got a really good arm. Yep. He can get out of the pocket so that the height thing isn't as big a deal with him. So he's got some ability to scramble and do some things with his legs, which is important in the league this year, the way the league's going. So of all the guys out there, I would take the most chance on him. But with that said, again, it's I have no knowledge like he's going to really burst onto the scene or anything like that. Right. But I think he's somebody that could help the team.
But it goes to show you though that, as I said on the show last week, that this NFL offseason in general, free agency going into the draft, it's probably the most boring and stale we've seen in recent years. So And here's the thing with Kyler Murray too. Also, he's had a decent career. He's not a bust by no means in terms of what he's done. I just think, to Pat's point, things just ran its course in Arizona. That's all. The one team I keep going back to, and I even during the year when they benched him, he's out for the year, and I was thinking about this as things were percolating in the season. The only team that makes sense for Kyler Murray at this point now is the Jets. It's the Jets. Like I don't see another scenario that a team that would take a chance on them. The Dolphins can't afford him. The Dolphins are probably going to cut to take $9 million cap hit. I don't think they can afford him. And Kyler Murray is still a good enough quarterback to still command at least $20 million a year. And I don't think the Dolphins can afford that right now at this point. So I think the only team that makes the most sense, unfortunately, it's probably a curse because the Jets are a cursed team. I'm sorry, Jet fans. It's the Jets. So we'll see.
Okay, the only other big notable name, we talked about him a lot in the last offseason, is Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher for the Bengals. He's going to test the free agent market. Where would you like to see a Trey Hendrickson end up?
Well, he's a guy that I still think has a solid couple years in him, and I think this is going to motivate. He's the type of guy I think this is going to motivate him going somewhere else. He wants to show the Bengals they made a huge mistake not trying to keep him together. You know, that defense has been horrendous for so long. He's one of the few guys that actually brings something to the table on that Bengals defense. So I think he's super motivated to go somewhere. With that said, I hope he doesn't go somewhere like the Jets or just a team that, you know, isn't going to be able to utilize him, because I think he only has probably a 2 or 3 year window to do this.
Right.
So, you know, maybe Minnesota or somewhere that if they need a defensive end like him and they're in contention and can afford him, those are the types of teams I think, you know, would and should be really interested in a guy like this. He sort of was treated like kind of like a throwaway guy, you know, for the last year or so, and he's not. He's a good player, and on the right team, he's going to be super motivated. So I hope he ends up with a team that has some Super Bowl aspirations, because he can certainly help.
So in NFL years, excuse me, he's 31 years old. In NFL years, that's on the older-ish side. So the question is going to be, he wants his money, obviously. So if you want your money, you can go anywhere. You can go to any bad team, like you mentioned, the Jets or where it may be, but you won't win any rings, you won't be in contention. But if you want to win a title and Super Bowls matter to you, you probably take a short-term deal with a good team. Like this move, and I don't even know if they even need him, but this has to fill up with Eagles written all over it. This is the move that, you know, Howie Roseman just say, you know what, we'll figure out the cap numbers here and there, bring him in here, we'll pay you what $25 million for a year or two, whatever. To me, that's what the movie should make. But at the same time, I don't know if he prioritizes a long-term deal at 31 years old or this, winning a ring. And that's the thing. If he wants to win a ring, he can stay in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, technically, he still has Joe Burrow. They're still technically, if they can figure out the defense and the O-line to some degree, they can still be in the conversation. But at the same time, I don't know what his priorities are, to be honest with you. So we'll see. But, I mean, he's a really good player, obviously.
You know, a team I think that I just thought about, just what you're saying, is San Francisco would be a team
that's
like
another one. That's another one. That's another one.
You think he'd fit right in with that, and
it's a matter of now when the numbers can work with what they have.
Right.
Now, the salary cap did go up $22 million this year. It's at $304 million. So that could be enough to contender to say, hey, we can play in here.
Yeah.
So
in the upcoming weeks, with obviously very little NFL news, I'm going to pose a question, and each week I think we're going to go over one position in football. If you had to build a championship team right now, taking a current player as he is right at this moment, who are you taking as a quarterback, Pat?
Oh, as a quarterback, geez, man. I mean, you still fall back on a guy like Mahomes, even though he was injured and he's getting up there a little bit, but he's won 3 Super Bowls. And he's been to 10 conference championship games. He'd be a tough guy, I think, to pass up on, assuming he's healthy, which I think he will be. Yeah. There's Josh Allen's still really good. His only thing is that he's never made it past the conference championship game, so that's a biggie. So you look for guys that, number one, have ability, but also have been to where you want to go. And I don't know. That's a great question. I hate falling back on just the usual suspects.
Yeah.
And try and give you a name of somebody that might be up and coming. Like Caleb Williams. Maybe he's the guy I keep talking about the Bears taking the step. And if they're going to do it, it's going to be next year, and it's going to be because of him. So he might be a guy. I just don't know quite yet. I wouldn't say I'm going to build my team right now on him, but he's the guy I think that's poised of these kind of younger guys that are relatively still unknown that might take that next leap. But if it's, I mean, I'll take Patrick Mahomes right now if you're going to give me somebody.
Let me ask you a question, Pat. Do you think Caleb Williams, if you were to concoct right now before the season starts next year, a top 10 list of quarterbacks in the league currently entering the year, is Caleb Williams your top 10?
Yeah, I mean, I it's always interesting because you go down the list. You like my initial thing is that, oh yeah, absolutely, and then you start going down the list.
Yeah,
You're
right.
like, well, maybe it's not as good as that guy. Maybe it's not as good.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not. I'm going to take that back. He's probably not right now. But this next year is critical for him. I mean, everything is in place for him to really excel next year, and. If he takes a step back like, C.J. Stroud or Jalen Daniels or something like that, then I don't know. I don't know where you put him at that point because everything is really in place for him to do it next year. Now, they lost their center. This guy retires at 27, which is insane to me. He just signed a contract last
$42
year.
million last year, yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
Like, you can't lose your center. That's huge for your quarterback.
Yeah, true
so those
Dolman,
little things happening – they would concern me, but nonetheless, I'm still, looking at him as a guy. I wouldn't probably put him in my top 10 earners right now, just because he hasn't done anything yet. It's all on, what ability he has, but he has to do it at some point here. So,
and I think you have the same theory as me. Like, I need a 2-year sample before I start really believing in the big picture. Quarterback, I mean, it's easy to say Mahomes what he's done, but I'm going to go Josh Allen because I think physically he's just the best in the business right now. He's obviously he hasn't gotten over the hump to get to the Super Bowl, but at the same time he's good enough to get there. There's no doubt about that. Running back, I'll go. Now I'm going to caveat this.
We'll talk about running back.
Oh,
next
okay.
week. So yeah, we'll just talk about quarterback this week. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it's Josh Allen right now. Like I said, he's the complete quarterback. He's like this generation John Elway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm looking at like a Joe Burrow. I do like Joe Burrow to lead my team to the next big game. But we'll go along with
unless
these
he's available, Mike.
yeah, that's the big thing with him.
No one doubts Joe Burrow is an amazing quarterback. Mm-hmm. It's that, can you play some games and be available to play games?
That's it.
So
that's a big question right there. Are we paying attention at all to the combine, Pat? If you are, what are you really looking for?
Well, believe it or not, I watched a little bit of it. I mean, there's a couple guys. Here's my general take on the combine as a whole. The 40-yard dash is a biggie. The bench press stuff, if you're looking for lineman or linebacker, is somewhat of a biggie. A lot of the other stuff, though, like the agility drills and how high you can jump, and I just don't know if that translates into, can this guy play football? And Noah and I, we've joked about this. There's a guy named Mike Malua out of BC. This is 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And the Eagles took him because he was an unbelievable combine guy. Mm-hmm. You never heard of him because he didn't do anything. He wasn't a football player at the NFL level. So, there were a couple receivers that I know didn't run as quick as they thought they were going to, and that might hurt them a little bit. But again, for me, receiver is, can you catch the ball? Can you catch the ball in traffic? Sure, speed is a big thing. Tyreek Hill made his career on it, and that's huge. But for the most part, if you're within a couple decimals of 4.5, the big thing for me is, can you catch? Can you combat catch?
Bingo.
Can you run after the catch? And I'm not just talking about run away from people. I'm talking about finding seams and things like that to get extra yardage. That's the big thing for me. I'll give you one other example. Steelers took a guy named Huey Richardson. Was a linebacker out of Florida, number 1 in 1991. And the things that kept popping up about him, he was a really good college player, but the key that he didn't have any upper body strength. And I'm like, well, and so I'm looking at all the stats for the guys that do the 220, I think it's 225 bench press. And normally those guys do between 15 and 25 of those, somewhere in there. Huey did 8. That to me should have been like, this guy literally doesn't have – you have to have upper body strength at least to some level to be able to push off guys and get through line, running backs, blocking and all that kind of – well, lo and behold, we got up there. And in training camp, he was terrible. Like we kept him around for a year just because he was a number 1 pick. But Cowher came in his first year and cut him immediately, like right out of training camp, and he was done. So there are some little indications there. Speed, strength, those types of things that I think you can take out of the combine. But for me, the biggest thing is on film. What is the guy doing on film? Is he blocking downfield? Is he taking on multiple guys trying to block him? Is he getting downfield as a defensive lineman, making a tackle, when most guys are sitting on their, if the play's behind them, that's all they're doing. Are they a football player? And that's only, to me, can be found on film. So, and in fact, there were several teams that didn't even show up at the Combine this year. I think the Combine is, quite honestly, on its last legs. I think you're just going to see a bunch of pro days, and teams just aren't going to invest in this. It's a shame for Indianapolis because I know it's been a huge economic boost for them in the middle of February to have this thing. But I think it's losing less and less relevance as a lot of these players are just like, I'm going to do – and some of them go to the Combine, like quarterbacks, and they're like, well, I'm not throwing here. I'm going to throw at my pro
right,
day. I'm
exactly.
Like, then why did you even go?
Why show up? Right.
So I think it's becoming more and more irrelevant, which is a shame in a way. But that's just the way the world is, and I think the Combine might be on life support.
It's overrated. I'm sorry. I'm not anti-Combine, but we've seen. But for me personally, it doesn't move the needle in the same way. Like, are there things you can pick out? To me, like if you're looking at like guys that might be drafted like in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, okay, fine, find little ancillary things here. But look, Tom Brady didn't do well in this Combine, and how that story play out. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not saying it's not necessary. But it's just something that's like, to me, at the end of the day, it's all about game tape. What can you do? Can you catch the ball? Can you break tackles? This and that. All those things. Game tape will always be superior to me over just like a solo thing, a 40-yard dash here. Jerry Rice wasn't really that fast, but Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time because he has great game tape and he translated it for us, and you saw how his career went. So again, at the end of the day, it's about the game. It's about what you do in the trenches. Bottom line.
It sure is. Now let's going to talk about sports betting because we are marketing partners with Hard Rock Bet. They've got a great offer right now called Double Your Winnings, and that has started back on the 27th of January. And new members who sign up for a Hard Rock Bet sportsbook account and make a minimum deposit of $10 are going to receive 100% profit boost tokens, a maximum $50 bet per token. If the wager wins, the customer receives 100% of the profit boost winnings. Those tokens expire 7 days after issuance, and only one token may be applied per bet. If you want more information on that, go to our website, pbkennelclub.com/Hard Rock Bet, and that's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Got to be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Before we transition out to NFL, some breaking news.
Breaking.
It's the
Breaking.
Cowboys.
We don't break anything here.
I mean, it's the Cowboys. They just created $47 million in cap room. They restructured Dak Prescott's and Tyler Smith's contracts. So
that's big.
That might help with Pickens.
Yeah,
maybe.
It may help.
Good for the Cowboys. So, that's awesome. Let's talk about a little bit of baseball. The World Baseball Classic is here. I believe it's starting today. Team USA is the current favorite to win it all at -115, followed by Japan at +325, and a loaded Dominican Republic squad at +400. I believe I asked you this a couple of weeks ago. Are you at all, entertained and looking forward to the World Baseball Classic?
Well, I've got several different takes on this, Mike, if you want to hear them.
Several?
I'd like to.
First of all, how is the U.S. favored over Japan? They got a Tony. They got all those pitchers. I mean, all right, maybe they are. I don't know the whole USA roster, but I would think Japan would be, and even Dominican Republic. It seems like half the players are Dominican in baseball now. Here's the thing I think that's going to be tough for this particular World Baseball Classic. You're just coming off the Olympics, which I know I panned the whole thing, but it still did have an unbelievable hockey, international hockey field, and the USA winning that. You can even go back and say that the NBA All-Star Game with the NBA guys with at least that got some notoriety as opposed to a lot of NBA All-Star games in the past. So now you're the third one that's trying to do an us against the world thing. I just think it's going to be tough. Maybe I'm wrong to be like, okay, now we're playing the world again in baseball. Everybody get up again and let's kick some ass. So, if the USA comes out and they play well and they start dominating and all that, I think obviously the interest level will go up. But if the Dominican and Japan come out and dominate and the U.S. is kind of struggling, I think people will lose interest in this very quickly. That's just me. I know there's factions of people in this country that are big on Japan. They're big on the Dominican. They're big on Mexico. They're big on whatever other teams are out there. So they'll have that little area of interest. But in terms of overall interest, I just think it's a hard sell because we just came off the Olympics, which is takes a lot of your mental energy to watch that. So, and you're going into a new baseball season, Major League Baseball season here. So I know they've done this in the past and all that, and it's been somewhat successful. My only other beef with this is I don't think the U.S. is playing. I think they're playing in Arizona. This is one where you got to mix this up. You got to move it around. They should have a couple games in Miami. They should have a couple games in, I don't know where this.
There's none in Florida at all. None in Miami at all.
I don't think they're in Miami at all.
I don't
think they are.
That's surprising, actually.
So I'm just saying wherever these venues are, the U.S. should be in each one of them at least once, so that people can go see them. Who's going to go to Arizona? And it's already 98 degrees in Phoenix. I know they're probably inside, but who's going to go out there and just be like, we're here to cheer on USA baseball? I don't know. I could be absolutely wrong on this. I was somewhat wrong on the Olympics in terms of the interest level in the USA hockey team there, but I just think it's going to be a tough act to follow. And if the U.S. doesn't grab the attention right away at people, I think it's going to be tough for this to maintain any kind of momentum going forward.
So, Pat, you were in your whole rock bet shirt, right? So I'm assuming you're going to bet Japan plus 325?
I would jump all over Japan. I would jump all over Japan. Yeah. If Ohtani, if he's going to play every game and they got the two pitchers from the Dodgers, those guys are unbelievable. So that's all you need in these types of things. You need two pitchers and a hitter, and that's what they got.
Right. Here's what I'll say about the WBC is that, and maybe I'm just saying from a more insular point of view because there's a lot of people who love this thing. This thing's popular. This thing's been popular for a little while now. So I don't know, like the comparison, like the third time they're doing the U.S. versus the world thing. I think, is there some wear and tear probably about that? Maybe a little bit. But I think because this is something that's been going on for a long time now, and there's a lot of baseball fans who are into this thing, like we talk about it all the time. Everybody's saying, wait for the Classic. Yeah. I think this, depending how the USA does, obviously, too, will do well. I think it will do well. And on a personal level for me, because I love baseball, I'm excited about the season this year, actually. At first I wasn't, but now I'm like, the Classic's coming here this week, and I'm like, oh, wow.
We'll talk to you in June and see how bad the Mets are.
Okay, see, now you're starting again. See, there you're starting to crap again. Go Braves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but like I said, I think this, of the three, honestly, is a little more authentic because, again, people are into this thing. People have been into this thing for the last, I don't know how long it's existed, but I know for the last 5-6 years, it's everybody talks about it all the time, like it's the biggest thing in the world. So, I don't know. I'm excited about this thing, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think as Americans we put as much into the World Baseball Classic. I know that people from South America are tuned in, and it's a huge deal.
Do they do this every year?
Yeah, they do. Every year.
Is it every year?
Yeah, and baseball truthers, are into this thing. Mm-hmm. That's what baseball fans love this thing. Yeah. And there's a lot of and look. I know baseball is not the biggest sport in the country anymore, but there are a lot of fans who still die hard, including myself. I love baseball.
Yeah, no, I remember those games in Miami when you get a home country
with the Zuzus or whatever.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's so much fun.
It's like a World Cup type atmosphere.
Yes.
And I hope we have that somewhere and go USA.
But in Arizona. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Makes no sense.
But we talked about Connor Griffin last week. He's the 19-year-old Pirates shortstop and consensus #1 prospect. He continues to impress in spring training. Why in the world wouldn't you put him on the opening day roster, Pat?
Why would you?
Why wouldn't you? I mean,
because they're the Pirates, and they're going to try to milk out the extra year, whatever it is, if they don't bring him up before June or whatever that goofy rule is. Which drives me. This is another thing about baseball that drives me absolutely insane. So we're going to save the one contract year by not bringing him up until June. Well, guess what, Pittsburgh Pirates? You might be out of it by June by the time you bring this kid up. Mm-hmm. So I hope they do not do this. I hope they bring him up. He's raw. I get it. You're risking screwing him up because maybe he's not ready for this level of baseball. If you watched anything, I know it's spring training and it's hard to judge everything based on a few at-bats, but he has it. He has something. He has something that the Pirates haven't had in a long time. He has something that a lot of guys in baseball haven't had in a long time. He has that it factor. Bring him up. You have nothing to lose. I get it. A lot of guys are like, well, you're going to crush his confidence. If he's really that good, that's not going to – he'll fight his way through it. So bring him up. Get the fans excited. Can you imagine opening day in Pittsburgh with Skeens on the mound and this kid batting first or whatever and hitting a home run right off the bat? Yeah. I mean, that's all you ask for as a fan of any team. You want hope. You want a chance. This kid gives it to you. Please, Pittsburgh, do not blow this and be like, this will be the line. really love Connor. We love what he's doing. We're excited about. We like what we've seen in spring training, but we're worried that he's not quite ready for the big time yet. We want to make sure that we're blah 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 blah. We don't want to pay him. That's what this. Blah blah blah. We don't want to pay him yet. So we're going to wait and send him back down to Double-A and bring him up in June when we're 20 and 40 and out of it.
That sounds.
You're welcome.
Right.
Yeah. June. First, I'm glad Alexa's not here because she'll kill me if I say this. June? No, they're done now. They're done April. But no, I mean it's the politics within the politics of the whole thing right now. If he's ready to go, throw him in there.
Yeah.
Get. And sell tickets at least, though. Get the kids, get the fans excited about this. I mean, the future at least. I mean, even if you're losing, if this guy is being bumped in seats, then that's a priority anyway. So I don't get it. If he's good enough, get him in there. That's my. I am that way with football too. Even with quarterbacks. If you're good enough, just get in there. Don't waste any time.
Well,
what are we doing?
Listening. Let's go Bucks. I think it's probably one of the most exciting times if you're a Bucks fan.
I agree with
probably
you.
since Andy Van Slyke.
I'm with you.
The thing is, she agrees with me on that, though.
Yeah.
She knows they're done.
You got a pitcher and a hitter now?
Well,
I mean, that's big time.
Pat, the Panthers are, I don't know if numerically they're out yet.
I'll tell you right now.
But they are. It's been an epic fall from grace. Could this possibly be a good thing?
I don't know why somebody would pose that question. It's never good, in my opinion, to lose. Here's the thing with the Panthers. I told you guys last week, I said they need to come out of the gate. They probably got to win 20 of these last 25 games. This is a two-time defending Stanley Cup champion. I'm assuming they got pride. These guys all got paid in the offseason. I know they're missing Barkov, their captain, and all that. I get that. I understand that completely. But you got to have some pride. This team won the first game. I give them credit. They beat Toronto.
Yeah.
And then they immediately went right back to what they were doing prior to the break, and they've looked like crap. They lost last night 5-1 to New Jersey, who's terrible, and they didn't even look like they put up any kind of a fight to me. I think Zito has got to be pulling whatever hair he's got left out of his head. This is unacceptable to me. And I know this sounds horrible because I'm a diehard now Panther fan because of my son, but this team has no heart. And that's the worst thing you can say about a team. Except for Brad Marchand, the rest of this team is just, they've given up. And I get it. You feel like, you played 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. You're tired. We've won 2 of them, blah, blah. No, you are in dead DFL in that division, and you're only a couple points out of being DFL in the whole conference. That's embarrassing for a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Where's the fight? I don't care if you're going to go down and take 100 penalty minutes every night, but you're not going to just sit there and take they lost the game to the Islanders 3 days ago. Embarrassing. They're up 2-0 in the game. Of course, they quickly give that up, and then they do what they need to do, tie the game with like a minute to go, and then immediately give up a goal with like 30 seconds, which was the defenseman just let the guy walk right in and score. I'm like, this is the crap that we looked at 10 years ago following this team. This is what we had 10 years ago with this crew. These guys all got paid. This is unacceptable. I mean, I would never really – I can't imagine going to a game now and booing, but it's close. I mean, it is
We're
close.
there already?
Yeah, it's close to booing these guys.
We got spoiled.
Now, they're out of it, and what are you going to do at this juncture? You still got 20 games to go, but they're not coming out of this thing. And the way they've been playing, they very well could lose 20 out of the last 25 games. That's the way they're playing. Wow. And man, what I'm saying though is now you're taking this whole crew basically back. They're talking about trading Bob, which they might, but you just signed all these guys to multi-year deals. So this crew is coming back next year. My thing is, are you able to turn the switch on next year? You're going to get Barkov back. But he's not like some raging Mark Messier guy that's going to scream and yell and get things turned around. I'm just saying the way they're ending this year is very bad going into next year. I know you're going to have a lot of time off and all that, but, man, you talk about going into a year with no momentum and, in fact, a lot of question marks. This team has some answers. They got some answers they got to provide here in this next couple weeks of the season because, man, It's embarrassing. I can't believe I'm saying that about two-time defending Stanley Cup champion, but they look like they've absolutely quit and checked out. And that's ridiculous for the amount of money they're making.
The lack of urgency is, coming out of the break was really, really concerning. You win the first game, then you lose the next 2 or 3. That's very concerning. Right now they're 10 points behind. Okay, 10 points. Can you make up 10 points next 20 games? Yeah, you could. Here's a problem. You got to leapfrog 6 teams to get there.
Yeah, not the way they're playing, Ernst. They can't. They're not going to win a game,
bro.
They're not going to win a game. Yeah, they're scoring 1 goal and
right. No. The math is not mathing. Now you framed the question: is it a good thing? So we're seeing once again why, and this is specific to the NBA and the NHL, who have very, very similar schedules. It is hard to go to a 4th straight Stanley Cup Finals. It is hard. Sure. This is why we don't see teams win more than 3 in a row or even get back to a 4th one. The Heat did it with LeBron, and that was a special team. But even that Heat team on those last legs, they were tired.
But Ernest, to be DFL, to just completely like you're not putting up a fight at all. You're dead last in the conference.
Well, no. My stupid team's in dead last in the conference. The Rangers are.
Well, I mean,
we don't count anymore anyway. So,
but I'm saying that I don't have an issue not making the playoffs. Right. I'm just saying. Give me some fight or something.
Right. No, I'm with you. I think they're tired. I think we're seeing what people forget they won 2 in a row, but they've gone 3 Stanley Cups in a row.
Yeah.
So they played deep into June the last 3 years. It is hard. It's a lot of wear and tear. Is this a good thing going forward? I can see a scenario where this same team next year, rested. Let's say they pull Bob in the next 2 or 3 weeks, or they pull some of these stars when they know it's pretty much out of contention. And they get rested and go into next year, and you get Markov back and all these guys. I can see a scenario where they're back in the conversation again next year, But is it disappointing? Yes, because at the very least, we always said, okay, just get in. 8 seed, I don't care. 8 seed doesn't matter.
I agree.
Just get in.
If they got in.
Now you're 13 or 14 in the conference, and 6 teams ahead of you just to get to 8. You're cooked, dude. You're cooked.
Yeah. Let's talk about the PGA now. Just last weekend, they were right here in Palm Beach County for the Cognizant Classic. Nico Echavarria won that after a stunning late-round collapse by leader Shane Lowry. Were you paying attention at all to the Cognizant?
I was watching. I really felt bad for Lowry. I'm not like a fan of his or anything, but they made the mistake with me of showing his wife and I think it's his 8-year-old daughter or 7-year-old daughter following, and Lowry I don't think has won since the Open in 2019. So this girl was either just born or wasn't even alive yet. So I'm like, oh my God, the poor guy's got this kid following him around and everything else. And I don't know. I'm a golfer, and I certainly know in my game that can happen. Like it can fall apart at any point. Mm-hmm. But if you watch Lowry on 15, which was it's a par 3, playing as hard as it's played all week, he got up there, no thought at all, got up, probably hit like a 7-iron, middle of the green, 2-putted like it was nothing. I'm like, this dude's in complete control. He was up at 3. He was up by 3 at that point over Echavarria and up by 5 over everybody else. So he literally just has to – he could bogey out, I think, at that point and pretty much win it. And he gets up on 16. Now, he's hit 3-iron there all week, but I don't know what the swing was. It was just like he said he lost the feel of the club head, which to me says that something happened mentally that if you don't have as a pro, if you don't have a feel for the club head, that means he don't know where the ball's hitting on the club face. Wow. And so he basically shanked it into the water. Absolutely made an unbelievable double there. If you think he was in a trap and had to get up and down and did, but then he gets to 17. And again, this is normally where pros can sort of block all that out from 16. He's still, I think, in the lead at that point or just tied. He might, because Echavarria, I think, made a birdie on 17. So at that point, I think they were tied. But that doesn't matter. He knows he can birdie 18. So he gets up there and flares it again on 17. And then, you know, he's arguing with his caddy and everything else, and it's over at that point. I really absolutely felt horrible for him. Nothing against Echavarria, but that's one of those collapses, especially as you get a little bit older like Shane is now. That one is hard to forget. And when you're in that position again, I think he's 1 for 5 in his last 6 times leading after 54 holes. That becomes a thought process now, like, oh, my God, I got to get through the next – I just got to finish the next 3 holes. And in golf, you can't think like that. And that's going to be the tough thing for him going forward when he's in contention again, to be able to block that out, and it's very difficult.
I just realized the only name I'm looking at the results of the leaderboard, and the only name I'm familiar with is Koepka, and he's tied for 9th. That's it.
No,
Yeah.
Lowry was the name I knew because
Right.
everybody was like, who
Yeah.
won the Cognizant? I'm like, oh, that's Echavarria won, but I did know Shane Lowry. Pat, here's a question for you. I thought you'd enjoy this question. Give me your dream foursome, past or present. Like, if you could go out today, who are the 3 other players, golf players, family, whoever it is, that you would want to play 18?
Well,
holes
I mean,
with?
I mean that in a weird way, that's an easy question because it'd be my 2 sons and my dad. So those are
there you
my.
That's awesome.
Now I have to say that. So but I legitimately, maybe my one son would be a little bit tougher because he's tough on the golf course. But I assuming he's in a good frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dream foursome. But if you're talking about like pros, obviously I'd love playing with Tiger. I'd love playing with Jack Nicklaus. I'm trying to think of a third, maybe Arnie Palmer, somebody like that, or Ben Hogan. You're always thinking like, but in a weird way, would I want to play with them and then have them look and be like, this guy sucks? Like, what are we playing with this guy
like that.
for? So that's kind of a tough question in that sense. But I played with a lot of pros, and I played with a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. For the most part, they're generally good people and they're fun to play with. Every once in a while, you get a goofball, and it's not as much fun. But that's the great thing about golf. I've always said this: you can go out to any course, public, private, anything. And go as a single and say, can you guys match me up with somebody and match you up with 3 other people? And 99 times out of 100,
Mm-hmm.
99 times out of 100, I can't think of any other situation in life that this happens. You will get along with 3 other people you do not know for 4 hours and have a good time with them. And after you're done, for the most part, be like, hey, give me a call. Here's my number. You would never do that. I can't think of any other situation in life. Be forced to spend 4 hours with
Yeah.
three strangers and actually end up having a good time after it. And that's why I truly love golf, is because it affords you the possibility of playing with people that you don't know, and they might stink or be a lot better than you or whatever, but you can still do it and commiserate with each other because you've all done the same things, that bad shots and bad luck and all that. And that's what I love about golf. So yeah, I mean, I put my dad and my kids in there, but you could almost put anybody in there. And like I said, for the most part, I generally had a good time playing with anybody that I've been matched up with.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'll go Tiger. That's obvious. I'll go present day. I'll probably go Scotty. And you said 3 or 4.
You're in a foursome, so it's 3 other guys.
3 other guys.
3 other people.
And for giggles, I'll go Charles Barkley.
Okay.
Just to laugh.
Mine, made first and foremost, John Daly's got to be there.
For laughs.
I'm bringing Shooter McGavin because I love that movie. And then I'm probably going to bring Michael Jordan just because it's going to be really, really competitive. So
yeah.
it's going to be interesting. But that's always a question. If you guys have an answer to that, go ahead and put your dream foursome up there. Let's talk about the NBA right now real fast. Wemby has come out and said that he thinks the Spurs are the best team in the world. They're catching up to the OKC in the West. Is he right, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, because of him, I think they're in that conversation. They played the Sixers last night, beat them by 40 at home.
Wow.
This is the 3rd time this year the Sixers have lost by 40 or more at home. This is what I talked about with Earnest a bunch. I've never seen a situation where home teams are getting creamed by those types of numbers in my life. And I don't understand what that is. Ernest, I'm just guessing like the Sixers are like, all right, it's almost like you're having a team meeting. Like, we are not going to play tonight. We're saving ourselves. We'll put Maxey out there and a bunch of the scrubs, and we're absolutely just going to sacrifice this game. You cannot lose by 40 in a professional level, but in the NBA, in my opinion, without absolutely trying to do that. You can't lose like that at home. And the Sixers aren't a scrub team. They're a decent team.
Yeah, they are.
That is amazing to me, that stat. And I can't imagine paying the money, going in there and watching that, and after like the first quarter being like, they're not playing. This is an exhibition game, and San Antonio's putting the wood to them. Yeah, so I mean, to answer your question, I think San Antonio's good. Not necessarily because they beat the Sixers by 40, but that was my digression into what is going on with some of these scores again that you see, and you have the thing. Is there going to be an anti-tanking? I don't know what you do about it. Like, you can't make guys play hard if they don't. If they made a decision before that game and said. And I don't even know what the signal is. Is it a nose rub or something? Like, hey, guys, tonight's game is oh, all right, Coach.
Nose rub, I like that.
Coach, gotcha. Dribble. Here you go. You guys take it. So I don't know. I think the Spurs are absolutely in there.
Here's the thing, too, Pat. I'm looking at the box score from last night. Wemby had only 10 points. He had 10 points last night. 6 blocks, though. 6 blocks, though.
That's a big.
But, you obviously Paul George's out for suspension. Embiid didn't play last night, so you obviously were shorthanded. The Sixers are just trying to hold on until the top 6 seed until they get to the playoffs. And I think if they have their guys all whole, to be a dangerous team. But to your point about Wemby, there's a conversation right now as we sit here on March 4th doing this podcast that he's the best player in basketball right now. Mm-hmm. There's a conversation. I'm not saying it's definitive right now. He's definitely top 5, probably top 3. And we consider Jokic number 1 in the league, right? We consider that. And Jokic is still phenomenal. But I think Wemby has arrived. I think if you say Wemby is the best player in basketball right now, if we sit here doing this podcast, it is not a bad take at this point.
How old is he? Is he 20?
21.
Oh, my God.
21.
So what's going to happen with him is this isn't like Manute Bol or something. Right. I envision him sort of like, if you remember when Michael Jordan came into the league, the first few years, he was skinny. He was just
very skinny.
And then, man, something kicked in with him. It's just you get a little bit older.
Pistons happened.
You get a little bit. You get a little bit older, and my God, he turned into like a one-man wrecking crew. Yeah. If that happens with this kid, which it should, with all the nutritional and all the stuff that we know about today, and he gets just a little bit bigger, he is going to be unstoppable. He literally will be unstoppable.
And to your point, if you love old school basketball, Pat, you love the mindset of old school basketball, like a Jordan, a Kobe, those guys. Wemby is that guy. Mm-hmm. Like, Wemby is a serious guy. He's not a new school guy that's like all about the brand. He's about winning. And you're seeing right now already, 3 years in, he's not only great, he is a winner now. He's actually lifting his team now towards they can win a title right now. Mm-hmm. They are way ahead of schedule. Mm-hmm. Way ahead of schedule. They could beat the Thunder this year. They beat the Thunder 3 times right this year. So, and I'll say it again, and people think I'm crazy saying this. His ceiling is the greatest of all time. His ceiling is Michael Jordan. You understand that, right?
I agree with that.
He's that good.
I agree.
He is that good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Absolutely agree
at
with
that height, and if he bulks up.
He's got athletic ability, too. He's not some stiff out there. He can shoot the 3.
He's amazing.
I just love
not even fair.
I think one thing else for me, I just love his mindset. He was pissed off when they lost the All-Star game, his team. Mm-hmm. He was
That's what I'm talking about. The mindset that everybody says LeBron doesn't have that Kobe and Jordan had. I see a little bit of that in Victor.
It's not that LeBron doesn't care. It's that LeBron also cares about what people think about him, too, also.
Yeah.
Do you think Jordan gave a crap about that? Come on.
No.
Really?
No, but I think he has that killer instinct,
yes.
and I think we're going to be talking about him a lot in the next couple of years as the greatest ever. Pat did mention the anti-tanking rule real fast. Ernest, how do you feel about that?
What is it? I don't even know what are they going to try and do?
Here's what I'll trigger the conversation real quick. So this started off in the All-Star break when Adam Silver, did his media, meeting with the press, all that, and they brought up tanking and how to fix the tanking issue. And he mentioned that they're looking at many things, including the possibility of scrapping the NBA draft. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a big swing. But I don't know if it'll fix the problem because now you create a new problem now. If you don't have a draft now all these players are going to want to go to the big markets, the Lakers and the Knicks and stuff. And now the bad teams will never get out of their own way. I think tanking is only an issue if it's a widespread problem. Tanking has always been a thing, though. It's always been a thing. You're not going to change it really. If one or two teams decide to want to tank, it is what it is. It's a problem in every sport, even in football. Although I will say in football it's harder because you can't convince 50 guys to not play well for a team because, what is in it for them? Those guys aren't going to be on the roster next year, so why would they tank their careers to help a team they're not going to be on for next season? So it makes no sense. So I don't think it's a big issue. I think you could do certain things here. I think the lottery is a fine situation too, also, because even though you win 15 games in the NBA season, it doesn't mean you get the #1 pick. You get a top 4 opportunity. That's about it. So it doesn't guarantee anything. I think everything is fine. I think the other things, the tanking issues isn't the biggest problem in the NBA. The biggest problem in the NBA right now is aesthetics. It's the amount of 3-point shooting. It's the lack of physical play. It's the just all that stuff. And those things, I'll say again, I keep saying this every single week. Yeah. Those things are easily fixable. You just have to the rule changes. Allow more physical play. Yep. That's all.
Okay, let's move on now. Let's talk about some sports betting picks. I threw up a little parlay for you, and this one is actually going to pay you some big money. I got Dominican Republic to win the World Baseball Classic at +400. I got Duke to win the national championship. Pat agrees with that.
I told you, take them against the field.
It's Duke of Michigan for me.
With March Madness starting up in just a couple of weeks, we're also going to have another contest on here, so that's something to look forward to. Also, Spurs, I have them winning the championship at +800, and the Dodgers at +220. None of those are far-fetched.
Okay, Noah.
Those don't sound far-fetched. And for $25, you win $13,500.
So basically, when you win, you take me to dinner. Good job.
Exactly.
Okay,
no,
awesome.
I'm not going to get you anything.
What the heck? Chili's? Not even Chili's?
Yeah. Anything, Pat?
I like a lot of those bets. I would probably take Japan over Dominican, but Dominican's really good, so I'm not going to argue with there. I love the Spurs. We just talked about that. I love Duke. I don't love them, but I mean I love them in this instance. I just think they're playing at a different level right now. They've absolutely peaked going into this March Madness, and that's what you want to be doing in sports is peaking at the right time.
Right.
And then who was the other team you took there?
Dodgers.
I took the Dodgers.
Yeah, well,
that's easy.
that one's not a shocker, but
that's a gimme at +220. You can't beat that.
Yeah,
so.
I
like that.
What other teams are out there that even remotely? I mean, a lot of people say the Yankees, but I don't think the Yankees are in the Dodgers league, so to speak. So there's no even other team out there that I'm like, all right, they can maybe have a chance in them. If the Dodgers stay healthy, they're winning this easily.
The advantage the Yankees has, though, I will say, is that their trek to the World Series is easier than Dodgers. There's better teams in the National League than the American League. Yeah. So if I threw a bet and the Yankees to get to the World Series to buffer the juice of your parlay, I'll do that too.
Yeah. You got anything this week?
Yeah, actually, I had this here. My phone closed.
You got a meeting to go to in a couple of minutes.
I know.
I know the meeting is mostly about you, so I want you to be there.
Allegedly. All right, so NBA action tonight. Big game tonight. Thunder and Knicks. So I'm taking the over at 222.5 points. The Knicks +4.5 also. And also SGA on the over at 3.5 points. Okay. And then your boys, the Hornets, +6.5 against the Celtics tonight. And by the way, Celtics, Jason Tatum's on the way back.
He is. We talked about that before the show. I'd play him. Now moving on to what's going on here at PBKC. We got March High Hands. That is Go for the Green every 15 minutes, 9 a.m. to midnight. Big giveaway is on March 28th. We also have some great paddock shows, including Joe DeVito, who just has a few tickets left. He's from the Gutfeld
He's
show.
Looking at me right now.
He's absolutely hilarious. He's going to be looking at you on Friday night, too.
He's laughing at you.
He's laughing at me, too, also. Yeah.
I'm going to make you come to the show.
Yeah.
Our big St. Patrick's Day celebration is coming up in just a few weeks on the 17th. You can't beat an Irish buffet, Tiernagryn dancers, and live Irish music by Tracy Sands and Rod McDonald. And don't forget about the Rooney's 5K, which comes up on April 4th. That's a big race right here at PBKC. We can't wait for that. Register online at Rooney's Golf Foundation or go to our website at pbkennelclub.com for more information.
Are you ready?
And what are you looking forward to this week, Pat? No, I'm not even going to answer that question.
Really? Okay.
No, I'm going to be helping.
He's a helper.
He's helping. And running too.
It's not because I can't run. It's because I can't run. But go ahead, Pat. Go ahead, Pat.
Well, we got Bay Hill for golf, which is a signature event. So you're going to have the actual players, not like this last week with the Cognizant. You're going to have guys you've heard of. So that'll be interesting. And then obviously leading up to TPC at Sawgrass the week after with the first major of the year. So golf is now heating up as we go to April and Augusta. And then you got post-combine. Now a lot of these teams will host these guys that they like and go to a bunch of pro days leading up to the draft at the end of April. So there's stuff, February's, once the Super Bowl's over, February is kind of a weird month because there's not a ton going on. Now, we had the Olympics this year, but normally not a ton going on. So March is when things start heating up with golf. Then we get back into football to some extent in April, and then you got the playoffs for NBA and hockey. Although I don't know who I'm going to root for in hockey this year, but
Not the Rangers.
yeah, it's going to be one of those years where you're rooting against teams, which I hate that, but that's all it's going to be.
Yeah, like this offseason has been this since the Super Bowl has been very quiet across the board. NBA, nothing really going on, and even in March now, it's kind of like everything's just steady. Everything is. We'll get the first bump in a few weeks with March Madness, obviously, and then we get to the Masters in April, and then the playoffs start in NBA, and then all as well. But right now, I'm actually enjoying this little break. Mm-hmm. This I can breathe a little bit. I could watch TV documentaries and stuff in the meantime while we get to the more important stuff, and then obviously we get to the middle of March. And I'm actually looking forward to March Madness this year, honestly, because I think as much as there's a lot of really good teams this year in college basketball, but to me, it's either Michigan or Duke. It really is. I know it's a cop out. But I watched that game a couple weeks ago, a couple Saturdays ago. What a game. What a game.
Yep.
Those teams are amazing.
Watch out for our contest that we're going to have for March Madness, too, coming up in the next couple of weeks. But everybody have a great week. I can't wait to watch the World Baseball Classic starting today. And we're going to see you next week on the show right here on PBKC Picks. Have a great week, everybody.
Missed you, Noah.
PBKC is your entertainment destination for poker, table games, OTB, Paddock live events, and exceptional eats. The Paddock Restaurant is perfect for meetings, corporate functions, parties, fundraising, and more. Call 561-683-2222 extension 199 and book your next event today.